Hi, I'm Zara Chavoshi. I play for Orlando Pride, and you're watching Gol Bezan.
دایی یه فرصت خوب حالا پشت مدافعان خداداد عزیزی توی دروازه گل گل برای ایران خداداد عزیزی باز هم روی زمین گشت سردار آزمون و توی دروازه سردار آزمون گل به نام آزمون و برای ایران بزنه کریم انصاری گل توی دروازه کریم انصاری دروازه پرتغال باز شد علی دایی صاحب توپ توی دروازه گل اشتباه حرکت از کوچان نژاد فرصت داره کوچان نژاد توی دروازه گل برای ایران.
Editor Samson Tamijani here at the Orlando Health Training Facility, home of the Orlando Pride national women's soccer team in Orlando, Florida. They won the NWSL title last year, led by one of arguably the greatest women's players of all time, Marta. One of the rookies this season is Zara Chavoshi. She is from the DC area, played for the U20 Canadian women's national team at the U20 Women's World Cup a couple years back. In college, she led her team to the national championship of the NCAA of women's college soccer and was an All-American fourth team member, meaning one of the best defenders in women's college soccer. I asked her about that, her upcoming season, and most notably being half Vietnamese and half Iranian, about what it's like being a professional player of Iranian heritage. Oh, and as always, if you plan to use the bits of this interview in your own media company's article, please reference Gol Bezan podcast. We're 2 months past you ending your career with Wake Forest, kind of a Cinderella run, all the way to the NCAA championship. And you only were stopped by North Carolina, which, for those who don't know, is basically the Manchester City of women's soccer. When you consider all that, has it sunk in? You're now a professional athlete?
I think it's gonna take a long time for it to sink in that we went to the final. But we, worked hard all season. It was a more successful season than anyone would have thought. So I think just kind of took it as it went.
Learning about your roots, you're from originally Delaware, then Maryland, basically the Washington, D.C. area.
Yeah.
Played ECNL over there, which for those who don't know is pretty much the top of the line competitive youth soccer. That allowed you to get a Division I scholarship to Wake Forest. But at the same time, your parents, your dad is Iranian. I read from Kermanshah, is that right?
Yeah.
But your mom is of Vietnamese descent.
Yeah.
And yet you represented the Canadian youth team.
Yeah.
We got to know how that happened.
So both my parents immigrated. My mom immigrated from Vietnam to Canada, and my dad Iran to Canada. And that's where they met. My sister was born there. All of my extended family lives up there. And then for work, we moved down to the U.S. So that's where I was born in the U.S.,
right? But
I have dual citizenship. I just applied for it.
So they already had Canadian citizenship.
Yeah. They're Canadian citizens. They're not American.
And you have that experience playing with the Canadian U20 team at the World Cup.
Yeah.
I'm curious how that international experience helped you develop, I guess, also in your maturity as an athlete.
Yeah. I mean, I came into the squad pretty late. It was kind of like an injury replacement player. It wasn't the most successful World Cup for them. And we faced a lot of obstacles, like a lack of funding from the federation, which I think they talked about later on. So definitely it was a character building moment for me. Just being grateful for the opportunity. Not everyone gets to go to a World Cup. But yeah, I knew my role. It wasn't the same at Wake Forest. So I was just there to help everyone out. But yeah.
Starting right back at Wake Forest. For most 4 years, right?
No, so I'd say center back.
Center back.
Yeah, right. Wow. Center back. Yeah.
That's a pretty valuable position.
Yeah.
of great need, especially if you're a team in the toughest conference, pretty much in women's college soccer. So I want to ask a little bit about your background, especially with your Iranian culture or upbringing and learning soccer. Did you get some of that from your parents? And how much of an influence, if any, was maybe your Iranian side from your dad?
So he was the one who got us into soccer. I have two older siblings, and they both played before me, so I just happened to get into the sport. But my dad was a coach for me at a young age, and he still plays, he still loves, he still tries to coach me. But yeah, I got into soccer because of him.
And when you think about women's soccer in Iran, it's always obviously been a struggle to develop the women's senior national team in the past. Not so much for futsal. They're among the best women's futsal teams in the world. But Iran did make its first Asian Cup and senior women's national team in 2021. Bam Khatun, the women's professional team there, qualified for the Asian Champions League elite bracket, and they're in the finals of that, or at least the final tournament of that. So having all these potential nationalities, I mean, potentially Vietnam, potentially Canada, obviously, and Iran and the U.S. I'm curious if you've followed much of the Iranian women's national team through the years at all.
I haven't. No, just I wouldn't even know where to find it. Or
you stay pretty busy.
Yeah.
I also asked, though, because I interviewed Kimya and Vida Rayet Parvar. They're two sisters from Dallas. They played for Vanderbilt in the last few years. Then, of course, there's the late Melika Mohammadi, who, like you, is from Maryland. She grew up in Bethesda and played for, I think, Bethesda SC over there.
Yeah. I think I've heard of her, actually. Yeah, now that you say the name, I remember hearing about that last year and just clicking on her like social media and seeing that she played for like a rival school of mine, like right next door, probably like 20 minutes away.
Wow.
And I remember showing my dad and being like, look. But yeah.
I'm curious, when you think of people like that, especially, her, she was, I think, maybe a year, 2 years older than you. Have you given any thought to the potential of representing those countries of your parents, be it Vietnam or Iran?
I mean, I'm not currently getting called up to any country right now, Canada or the US, so it's always, something I look forward to or I'm open to.
Playing internationally?
Yeah.
So I get that no other federation has contacted you, be it Iran, Vietnam, Canada, or US?
Yeah.
But you did have a youth camp with the US at one point, is that right?
Like very young. Just like a combine kind of thing, never like a camp.
So there wasn't a big focus on the draft or a big, let's say, college football. In that sense, it's not to say that we weren't watching young players like Zara who can come in and we can guide her throughout this next couple of years for her to be in a place where she's a first team regular as well. Like, we always have to plan ahead, and we feel that Zara's in a position where, we get her in here and, show her what it takes to be a high-end professional footballer for this team. And then, further down the line, she may be a regular, who knows? But we have to continuously look ahead, and you could see in 2023 we relied heavily on the draft with some really important pieces.
What role do you plan to have with Orlando?
Honestly, I've been here for about a month now, and I'm so excited. I think they came off an incredible season, and I just want to develop and help everyone around me develop. I'm very competitive, so playing against like these big name players, get to defend against them and compete every single day, especially like preseason. It's when you get to show or showcase your skills. So yeah, honestly, I'm obviously a rookie. There's a lot of expectations, but at the same time, like, there's no expectations. You just go in and perform and work hard. So that's what I'm looking for out of this opportunity. And yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to defend against Marta yet?
Yeah, I guess. Like every day, just like a little bit.
Is it a little bit of starstruck in that?
She makes it very easy for everyone to just like have a good time without even realizing like labels or big time names. She comes in and greets everyone and like introduces herself to you. So I think she's done an awesome job at making me feel home and welcome. But when I go back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm playing with Marta. I'm playing against Marta. Like, it's crazy.
We got about a minute or two left, something like that. So I want to ask, is there a message that you would like to share with any Iranian fans who will see you play?
Yeah, no, I'm very proud of my heritage to be Vietnamese and Iranian. I like scream it from the rooftops. So yeah, I'm just proud to be here.
One last mini question. I'll try to edit this a little in between. If you had to choose between eating Vietnamese cuisine or Iranian food, what can you pick? Do you have favorites on both?
I do. I love both, and my parents are both in town right now, and my mom has learned to cook Iranian food incredibly. So, but she also makes really good Vietnamese food. I would say Iranian food.
And any specific dish?
I love kubide kebab.
Kind of the go-to.
But like warmi sabzi, ash rashte.
And growing up in the DC area, you could probably get it good too.
Yeah, but my mom like perfected every dish.
Our next interview I recorded here in my workplace's podcast studio. That's why it looks so professional in here. Our next guest is midfielder Lily Nabet, number 28 for Angel City FC based in Los Angeles. By all accounts, she became the first woman of Iranian descent to play in the top division of the United States in women's professional soccer. She did that in 2022. While Zara Chavoshi is half Iranian, Lily has both her parents from Iran. I recorded this interview with her the week that Iran's senior women's national team played 2 friendlies in Turkey against Puerto Rico, a team with pretty much all United States-based players born in the United States. Iran drew with them 0-0 and then lost days later to them, the same team, 2-0. Shirzhanan has not won an official match since April 2023. The team will try to qualify for the Women's AFC Asian Cup coming up in June. All right, welcome back. I'm with Lily Nabet. By the way, Lily, you didn't remind me, what is the authentic Iranian pronunciation of your last name?
It is Nabet.
Nabet, that's what I thought. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us on this. You are, by all intents and purposes, you are the first Iranian American or Iranian women's professional player, at least in an American league. I imagine that's a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I actually found that out last year, which was a shock to me, but it feels amazing, but it's also something that I wish there was people before me, obviously. But I mean, yeah, I feel great to be in that position.
Yeah, you're a midfielder for them. You're entering your 4th season. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you wear the jersey number 28. Is that right? So, yeah. I mean, about to start your 4th season with hometown pro team. You began playing for them in their first ever season in 2022. What's that like? Not only in your hometown, but also in a city with rich Iranian heritage as well, Tehrangelis, and they have a representative. They first had Steven Betashore with LAFC in the men's side, and then you with women. I imagine that's a good feeling too.
Yeah. Honestly, moving to North Carolina to play for Duke University, it was amazing, but it was also my first time being so far from home and LA and just the people in my community here, and there wasn't really a big Iranian population out there, so it was a bit of a culture shock leaving for 5 years, but then coming back to LA and being drafted here was like my dream that came true, and on top of that, just having my family in the stands, my friends, all like my extended family. You know how Persian families are. They come in packs. So playing in front of them and all the support, and now seeing Persian fans in the stands, it's amazing.
You're from the Tarzana neighborhood in LA, at least according to Wikipedia. A lot of famous people live there. I saw a sizable Iranian population as well, as you alluded to. By the way, how's your family and friends over there in the LA area, especially after the wildfires? Has everyone been okay?
Yeah, we're actually in Encino, and it was it was definitely a very, very tough time. Thankfully, everyone is safe and everything is safe. We had a teammate, Allie Riley, that her family was heavily affected by the fires. So it's been tough for everyone, and just seeing the devastation that just span across LA. It was horrific. But on the flip side, just seeing the community come together and really open their arms to those that were affected has, yeah, it's been amazing.
فارسی صحبت میکنی هم؟
Yeah, Cam.
Yeah, Cam.
I understand. It's really hard for me to speak. Yeah, I don't know, when I'm the third child, so my mom, she spoke Farsi, but with her first kid, his Farsi was his first language and didn't really translate that well in school. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's probably better than me. I've been working on it for a number of years. So if you understand it, I mean, that's pretty good already. And on that note, I want to ask about your soccer influences growing up. Both your parents, I believe, are of Iranian descent. I imagine a lot of that influence in the game of soccer came from your parents. Is that fair to say?
Yes, a big part of that came from my parents. My dad still plays pickup soccer. He's part of one of those LA pickup groups on the Saturday, Sundays. If you see Persian men at Will Rogers Park, my dad is probably there. But yeah, they both love soccer. I mean, Iranians in the Persian community loves watching soccer and playing soccer. So, and that really shows in LA. All my teammates, they'll ask me if I know the Persian people playing in the park. Like, I know every single Persian person in Los Angeles. But yeah, they had a huge impact on my love for the game.
And it led to you getting excelling at, it was the ECNL club you played with, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the pretty much the top tier league of travel youth club soccer in the U.S. I know really well. I referee them here in the Tulsa, Texas, in Oklahoma area, and that led to you playing 4 years with Duke, which is D1 Atlantic Coastal Conference in the NCAA for those who are not from the U.S. And you did quite well with them. You played with them deep in the NCAA tournament. As well. Talk about that development from youth to college and then to professional. How was that transition for you? Because it seems like you were able to not skip a beat and play in the next level every single time.
Yeah, I will say growing up playing like soccer was more of just like something that was so fun for me. I didn't necessarily think about it as like, oh, how do I get to the next level? How do I do this? How do I do that? And with that, I think my two older brothers had a huge impact on that, and my love of just being outside, whether it was soccer, basketball, whatever it was. And so I was playing AYSO, and my mom just like loved watching me play. And actually, two of the parents there were like, you should take her to Real SoCal tryouts. It's just like a club around here. My mom had no idea. Well, and neither did I. I was just like, okay, great, let's do it. So I joined Real SoCal when I was 10. And I was with the club up until Duke. And even that time, it was still so much fun for me. And when I started seeing teammates reach out to colleges, and again, my mom and dad had no idea what that was. And that's not really something in the Persian community you really talk about, recruiting to play a sport somewhere. So that was kind of a nuance for me and my family, and learning from just my teammates and their families, how they went about the process. And it got to a point actually when I was in a higher grade than those, that was one grade above the people who were on my team. So when they were getting recruited, they were sophomores, and most of them were going to UCLA, Stanford, and Oregon, and all these great schools. And I was like, I want to go to Duke University. I don't know where that dream of mine came from. I just read about the school one time, and it was something that I wanted to do. Of course, I was a junior, and recruitment was kind of done for my year and for those my age. So I reached out to the coach and I just explained to him like my dream of going to the school, and I would love to visit and just show them who I am as a person, and if they see me fit in any capacity, I'm willing to commit myself. So I flew out to Duke for an unofficial visit, met Coach Robbie and Carla, and they were amazing. And that's when they told me, yeah, I don't know if we have room for you, but we'll let you know. And they ended up calling me, I think, a few weeks later. And they were like, we have a spot for you, but it's a walk-on. We would love to have you a part of the team, but we can't commit to you for scholarship. And so, yeah, that was something I went to my parents and asked them, but I completely understood if that wasn't part of the, I guess, journey for me. But they were ecstatic. So that's when 2017 I walked on to Duke University, and it was a bit of a culture shock, like I already mentioned, but I was so willing to learn. And I also wanted to be away from, I guess, my family and see how I do outside of my comfort zone. And the first year, it was definitely really, really hard just balancing my academics and soccer without my family, because, I mean, I did everything with them. But then, yeah, we made it to the Final Four my first year. And then up until I actually played 5 years because I had COVID, my COVID year. And with that, they gave an extra year of eligibility to those who wanted to take it. It wasn't necessary. So ended up being a captain my senior year. We went to, I believe, I can't remember where in the NCAA tournament. And then my 5th year, I co-captained again. And that's when we made it to the Elite Eight. So, yeah, definitely super successful team, and the girls that were surrounding me there. But it was a journey, and it was not an easy one. But with my family and how much they supported me and pushed me to, I guess, overcome that on my own, away from them, it was, I think, the biggest blessing they could have, I mean, given to me. And that then translated, entered the draft my 5th year, had no idea I was going to get drafted. The word around town was, Lily, just put your name in. You probably won't get drafted. I didn't have that many stats. Like, I was more the gal that was behind the scenes, so you wouldn't necessarily know who I was if you didn't watch a game. And because I was a walk-on, I didn't necessarily start that year on the starting 11 team. So every year I kind of worked my way up, and yeah, ended up getting drafted by Angel City in their inaugural year. And that was the second best dream of my entire life. My first one was going to Duke. So that was surreal. And ever since, I've just been putting one foot in front of the other and learning and trying to be better. And now this is something that I knew I didn't want soccer, but this is my career and something I love, and I will continue to do it until I can no longer. So yeah, that was a long story, but
no, it's good. No, we love hearing the stories of players, especially of Iranian descent. I mean, that's what makes Gol Bezan so unique. You know, we go in depth about these things.
Yeah.
And for those who maybe don't understand quite the context of American women's soccer, the ACC, the conference you played in, the Atlantic Coastal Conference, that them and the SEC, the Southeastern Conference, is pretty much two of the best college conferences in the country for women's college soccer. It's not necessarily, you know, the same kind of realm as talking to a player that like, you know, the past few players that we have interviewed who maybe leave their home country and go to Spain or go to Belgium or something like that. But it's basically the same distance. You go from the west coast of LA to almost the east coast of Duke, which is in North Carolina. And you play with pretty much the best college teams of any girl or woman who's under the age of 23, I guess. And then you go to the arguably the best women's professional league in the U.S. I mean, U.S. is ranked number 1 in the world, and it's domestic league. So, logically, you would conclude that it is among the best, if not the best, league. And you've been slowly getting more playing time. I saw that you scored a goal in the preseason, invitational tournament just the other day. I'm curious if you had any, international role models you look up to, men or women, from the U.S. or Iranian side. Obviously, Iranian boys will tell you, "Oh yeah, I grew up loving Ali Dai, Ali Karimi, guys like that." I'm curious what it was like for you. Did you have any specific soccer role model?
Um, I didn't I didn't necessarily have growing up a soccer role model. My dad was obsessed with Man United. Um, so I couldn't tell you players, but I know that I would wake up and eat my Nuna Paneer with Man United in the background. I actually still have a Man United plaque in my room. But yeah, I didn't really watch much of soccer growing up other than Man United, and I sure didn't watch any women soccer players growing up because that wasn't on the television. But yeah, I would say my athletic role model growing up was Kobe Bryant, being from LA and having 2 older brothers. Like, he was the epitome of like the best athlete, and just like the man to watch growing up. And actually, he had a like pivotal part in my family and bringing us all together. Like, watching Kobe that night was like something my grandma, my parents, my brothers, my cousins, like we all watched together. And um which is weird, connecting Kobe Bryant and Persian families together, but it happens a lot. But right now, actually, my cousin Shane, he watches the Iranian men's national team a lot, and he's been always sending me videos of Mehdi Teremi, I think that's,
RME, yeah,
yeah,
Inter Milan, yeah.
yeah, and I believe he was the first Premier League Iranian player.
First in a while, first
Wow.
major team, being with Inter Milan. We've had Ali Dai and Ali Karimi both play for Bayern Munich. We've had Ashkan Dejaga play with Fulham. We've had Reza Guchanajad play with Charlton. Underneath Temurian played with Fulham also.
Okay.
And rumors of players playing, being linked to Premier League teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened before, but yeah, not often.
Yeah, so he's now sending me um all of that, all of his like highlights and stuff, and it's great. Like, he's a great player, and just seeing his influence on the game and bringing our culture to the world is amazing. But um yeah, I wish I could say that this Iranian player was someone I looked. It wasn't around like me at all. So yeah.
Paving your own path, basically. I mean, gosh, you play first division soccer already, and you're a midfielder. Would you say, by the way, more in the center, like holding mid, or what would you say?
Yeah, I would say holding mid. Yeah.
Reminds me a little bit of Saman Ghoddos, who we talk about a lot on Gol Bezan. He is actually from Sweden, born and raised in Sweden, has been
Okay.
playing with Iran since about 2017. I want to say he was brought on by the Portuguese legendary coach Carlos Queiroz when he was coaching Iran. So, and he's now one of the mainstay players, the main more technical players. Oh, by the way, he played in the Premier League. He played at Brentford for a
Okay.
good bit. He is now playing in the UAE, much to some of the Gol Bezan members' dismay. As well as Sardar Azmoun, who was playing with Roma last year when he was owned by, he was on loan there from Leverkusen, and before that was playing Champions League for Zenit St. Petersburg. Azmoun was. Yeah, they play in UAE, as well as Saeed Ezotahi, who played with the youth team of Atletico Madrid. when he was a teenager. Yeah, they're playing in UAE now. Sorry, I don't mean to give you the history lesson. Sorry about that. But
No, it's great.
in regards, obviously, to the international sense, have you ever even imagined playing for an Iranian women's national team? Because they are trying to on the come up. They qualify for the Asian Cup. They're futsal, women's futsal powerhouse.
Yeah.
They're competing in continental competitions in youth time and time again. Um, is that anything that you have given any logistical thought?
I I didn't really think about that growing up. Again, I didn't really think about playing professional soccer growing up, but I will say the past year and a half, I've had a lot of teammates ask, like, you're the first Persian women's player to be drafted, and you're the first to do this and that. And like, I mean, at that point, rumor was that I was the only only Persian in the league. Now that you're telling me Orlando Pride has one of us, that's great. But yeah, I didn't think about it until people started asking me, and being first generation in America, I've never been to Iran, so I guess that maybe that's why I never really thought about it. But I there was no connection between me and the Iranian national team as far as like talking to them, or there was no one linking that. So I mean, you dream of playing for your country and your people. So I would be foolish to say that I wouldn't love to do that, and represent Iranians around the world. But yeah, I didn't really have that connection growing up, and now is like the past 2 years I've been thinking, like, why hasn't this been like a thing for me? So and I know especially my mom would be so proud to have me playing and representing Iran. My dad too, but yeah, I wish I could say more, but I don't know. I never really had that connection with them.
Yeah, I think that says more about the infrastructure and the Federation of Iran more than it does about you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about that too much. You're doing well on your own with Angel City, it looks like. Oh, forgot to ask. Does your family have a favorite Persian Gulf Pro League team? You said your dad
Oh,
likes Manchester United. I imagine that translates to like a Persepolis. Is that right?
oh no. Everyone just watches. I'm telling you, my dad, all he watches is Man United.
So not any Iranian teams. Persepolis, Esteghlal, none of those. That wasn't a big thing.
I think the only person in my family would be my little cousin Shane.
What parts of Iran were your parents from, if that matters?
Tehran.
Oh, so Tehran area. So I mean, that's Persepolis, Esteghlal country. Red versus blue.
Yes.
Lily, before we close this out, I want to ask, what are some of the goals that you are looking out for in this upcoming season with Angel City? You're now in your fourth season. There's obviously been some moves with players around the league, but you've stayed steady with your home city team, and they are one of the more recent expansion teams. Pretty powerful owners. Angel City has the majority owners, Bob Iger with Disney. I mean, there's a lot of good PR with Angel City FC. What are some of your goals, and at least for the team to translate that to on the field success?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us this year is just the impact that Bob and Willow have already had. Our new facility coming into that first day was like, it was like coming to Angel City for the first time. That facility, Performance Center, is magnificent. And I think just surrounding that move and the belief that they have in this club has already translated on the pitch, and how they've brought all the girls this year together. And the goal this year is make playoffs and win a championship and bring hardware back to LA. So that is the number one goal. Individually, just keep impeding myself on this team and bringing my style of play to contribute to to bringing hardware back. And yeah, just growing more as a leader, as a player. We have amazing girls on this team, so how I can learn from them and translate that on the pitch. So yeah, just keep growing, becoming more of a leader, and yeah, bringing Lily to Angel City is my goal. So but yeah, winning a championship I've never won a championship in my life, so if I could do that this year with this team, it would be a dream come true.
Is there a message that you would like to share with Iranian fans, or at least any Iranian soccer football fans watching this or listening to this online? Message that you have, in terms of representing Iran in your club team, future, whatever, representing Iranians at least. Do you have a message in terms of that?
I think the biggest thing is that the Persian community, Iranian community, is one that's so filled with love, support, and yeah, I would just say community is literally what we are, and the fact that I get to represent that at the highest level is such an honor. Just waking up every day and knowing that I can impact little girls and boys from Persian communities and who are Persian to play professionally, because they can and because it's an option, especially for girls. Like I didn't have a Persian women's player that I could look up to or that I knew of, and the fact that I can be that for people is amazing. And I'm so glad that there's more Persian women entering the league, because like we deserve every part of it. So yeah, I'm honored, and I'm gonna keep pushing, and this dream of mine is more not just for me but for everyone else. So yeah, I'm incredibly blessed.
Lily Nabet of Angel City FC, midfielder number 28 when you're looking on your TV screen. For any Gol Bezan watcher or listener around the United States, at least, whenever they're coming to a city near you, look out for, buy a ticket, come watch and cheer on Lily. So yeah, thanks so much, Lily, for joining us on Gol Bezan.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thanks for listening and watching, and especially if it's on YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe. It really helps us in the YouTube algorithm. And give a comment. Tell us what you thought of this episode. We will be back very soon previewing the Team Melli March World Cup qualifiers. Please be sure to follow us. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your local Iranian business to follow us and be on the lookout for that. See you then.
Hey, my name is Zahiroleslam, and I'm playing for Sint-Truiden in the Belgian Pro League, and you're listening to Gol Bezan podcast.